How's it going, everybody? And welcome to the TNA Body Slam Post Show. As always, I'm joined by my good buddy Io. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing pretty good, man. Can't complain. For a TNA fan, this is probably one of the biggest weeks. One of the biggest weeks because the brand and especially Bound for Glory coming up, like whole lot of TNA chatter every day. Yeah, a lot of TNA chatter every day. Good to see some of our talent getting to shine. And we're very excited for not only Bound for Glory, but also the upcoming show is coming Tuesday. So how you doing too, buddy?
Yeah, I'm actually. I think it's. I like how you said that, and also let me add that I think it's really cool that for once that a majority of the chatter is positive. TNA's been around a long
Exactly.
time. Yeah, TNA's been around a long time, and they kind of had their fair share, especially being around when the beginning of social media in terms of Twitter, and so you know what I mean. Everyone knows like the LLTNA thing, you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
I think they've been far away from that, and I'm glad that they're getting more eyes on them to finally. Because we've talked about how TNA's kind of been hot. Like in my opinion, a lot of us think probably since like 2019. You know what I mean? The pandemic took a
Yeah.
little bit of wind out of their sails, which I think that's what kind of slowed it down. But you know what I mean? You could argue that they would have been a lot more ahead if it
Uh,
wasn't
It
for
it
the
it,
pandemic.
it kind of went through like rebuild and redemption phase. So like when Demore and Callis took over, they were like in the redemption phase, like shedding away the stigma. And then once they did that, and then TNA, I mean sorry, Impact at the time became more of a had his own. I guess you could say had his own new identity, so to speak, because now they were putting on good shows and good talent. And then when the rebrand came, it became like okay, not only they fix Impact slash TNA, now they're trying to carve a new path, and then in comes the shock, I mean the shock and partnership, obviously, like, and which has been doing well too. It's like okay, this is where TNA's new phase, and it's going to involve having a good relationship with W. So basically, it's been like a year by year phase of the TNA anthem era, so to speak.
Yeah,
And it's culminating with the possibility of them, getting that new media rights deal, and then getting TNA back into a bigger audience, so to speak. It'll be really like a full circle moment of like how far this company's come. So
exactly. Yeah, and I think it should be something that should be universally celebrated when that happens. Just because you know people want like it or not, AEW is called the alternative. That's how they were kind of marketed, but TNA has been the alternative for a while. You know what I mean? And they've been through a lot, and so like I said, this should be looked at as a win for wrestling if they're able to land this new TV deal.
yeah,
Okay, before we get into TNA's action from tonight, why don't we get into a little bit of what happened on NXT?
yeah,
I think that was a pretty cool shot of the TNA wrestlers kind of rolling in there. You know what I mean? I thought that was really dope. What did you think about just everything that went what happened on Tuesday?
So Tuesday. Well, let's go back to No Mercy at first when the news came that this crossover, like they're actually gonna do like an invasion show, which they can't use invasion anymore, but I knew like it was gonna be big and coming at the right timing because like they're capitalizing out the whole invasion scene a week earlier and whatnot. So, and to their credit, yeah, when the show started, like it became mostly throughout about the NXT TNA war, NXT TNA stuff, like throughout the show. So like they kicked off with Ava and Santino, um, naming their team captains. So like for the NXT side, Ricky Saints and JC Jane are the team captains, and this one kind of. I mean, it's just this one's still kind of like shocking to like both fan bases. So for the TNA side, Santino picks Trick. I mean, Mike Santana and Kalani Jordan, the current Knockouts champion, as the team captains. So yeah, they kind of got off to the rails, and then so it's a four each match is a 4-on-4. Throughout the night, we're I mean, you and I in the chat, we're kind of figuring out like who's gonna be in the members. Um, but yeah, also we got the surprise of the surprise. I guess you could say for WWE's standpoint, the surprise WWE return of one Mustafa Ali, who confronted the North American champ Ethan Page. And I like the story that they told, because I mean it is I mean it's no secret that before Mustafa got released, he was owed a NXT North American title match. Ironically, at No Mercy 2023. And when that didn't happen, of course, Mustafa done well since then and stuff. So you can tell like it's kind of like a full. You can tell it's like a full circle thing. Returning, confronting the current champ, and then like letting know that he's here to claim what he's owed, the North American title, which I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see next week. So yeah, Mustafa Ethan. Oh yeah. Basically throughout the night, it was pretty much all about NXT and TNA. And I know shout out to Datila, she kind of brought up how come the women's team don't have any TNA originals. We'll get into that question later. So yeah. Oh, of course. Leon Slater. Yeah, Leon Slater was there. So him and Javon Evans, they teamed up. That was a pretty good tandem chemistry. And Leon, looked like a star, as he looked like a rising star as he should be. The crowd loved him. Hit that Swanton 450. So yeah, you can tell. Also, it's not only building up Showdown, but it's also building up Bound for Glory. As we know, these two are set for the X Division title, Bound for Glory. And then after that, yeah, the scene, the parking lot scene, yeah, of the TNA crew, riding out, not in a not in a tank, not in a tank or not in a jeep, but in I forgot the name of the car, but like a cyber car-ish or something. I think Moose was driving it. So yeah, uh, yeah, they were out in the parking lot, TNA talent and NXT talent, getting into it, and then during the commercial break, it all led to both sides coming back to the PC, to where it was time for the NXT and TNA summit. So yeah, for the men's side, Ricky Saints picks himself. Well, it's himself, Trick, Javon, and Miles Bourne, going up against Santana, Frankie Kazarian, Moose, and Leon Slater. And for the women's side, JC Jane, Sol Ruka, Jada Parker, and Lola Vice. And for the TNA side, it's Kalani, the IInspiration, which we'll get into, which we're going to talk about them later. And a big surprise that surprised me, Mara Sade is on the team too. So yeah, to bring up Datila's question, why isn't any TNA originals, or so to speak? Maybe some couldn't make it, or I'm sure probably some by their choice. Because usually it's selected TNA talent. I think that kind of appearing on the crossovers, but that's just my own thing. And I know some are international talent too, because but that's for another conversation too. But yeah, the main thing is the reason, yes. I know some are asking like, well, okay, well, Trick Williams is the TNA World Champion, but he's not under Team Wall. It was because Santino already said he doesn't trust Trick. The roster doesn't trust him. As if you guys been paying attention, like Trick is basically the enemy to them. He's basically the enemy to them. Where Kalani, she's so far. I mean, and as we saw on Impact tonight, she's trying to be the honorable champion. Like actually respects TNA despite being an NXT talent too. And you could say she's kind of representing Ash by Elegance, in some way because that was her mentor and stuff. So they trust her more than they trust Trick. So that's why. And then all hell broke loose as you expect. All hell broke loose as you expected, and I love the end to see with Shawn Michaels, with a big smile on his face. And showdown next Tuesday should be very fun. What was your thoughts too?
And I'm sighing because, and I like not because I'm agreeing with like everything you're saying, but I'm sighing because like on one hand I get what Dottie is saying about the no originals. If I had to make one change, I would have, especially given the result after tonight, which I would think that they might have had already in their head, because I would have had the Angel Warriors swap for the Inspiration, just because I think the Angel Warriors is a new team, need that shine a little bit more than the Inspiration, who obviously we know became champions tonight. I like Mara in there. Now, as far as Kalani in there versus Trick, to me it's very obvious, especially if you like watched the segment today. Kalani, while she is an NXT wrestler and she's a TNA champ, but she's a TNA champion, and Trick is a TNA champion, but he's okay. Well, Kalani's a face, and although she's an NXT wrestler, she is a TNA champion, and obviously Trick is a heel who's an NXT wrestler, but he's also the TNA champion. So while he'll come out and disrespect the belt, as a face, Kalani is like already like showing that like she's all about like she's like she wants to represent that title. You know what I mean? Like you saw like during the opening segment tonight, like she's trying to like play peacekeeper. Like when
she's
Trick was
she's basically the opposite of Trick.
When Trick was bad mouthing the brand and calling it second rate, you could see her disagreeing with that. Like it's very, so I don't mind her being the captain because like again she's the face, like she is. And I made it no secret. Like to me, I fully agree with them putting the title on her, even if it's going to be temporary, because I think that she is. I don't know. I think she could be the face of this division. You know what I mean? She's a huge star potential. And as far as Trick, again, you said it. Santino doesn't trust him. You know what I mean? So why would he put it? You know what I mean? So on the TNA team, I really like the whole. Yeah. And I know a lot of people are complaining about like when you're looking at the teams, like
I get the complaints too, but it's just like you got to understand this wasn't really. I mean, folks got to understand this was. I'm sure this wasn't the original setup too. Like a certain someone, I'm sure was supposed to be in this team too, but or at least a certain someone or two, or when I was supposed to be in this team, but that's for another conversation. And like we mentioned, like Kalani's, the opposite of Trick. Like she's not going to be claiming, this is her show or or wear the title upside down. So again, I mean, and from my own viewpoint, I mean, if not her, then I'm sure not too many people would have been suitable. That's just my honest opinion. But it's just it's just kind of like layering it up to I think it solves two things. Like it shows that the TNA does have an NXT baby face as a champion, and two, probably building up to, from NXT point, probably building up to maybe a future match between Kalani and JC Jane, because JC, she wasn't happy about that. I mean, she wasn't happy about the decision that Kalani's in her mind as a traitor and And speaking of Trick, backstage he took it upon himself to call him a co-captain, and Ricky Saints wasn't having that, so I don't know. Maybe there might be something weird, but those two later. But we'll see. So yeah.
You know what's funny, Io? I believe,
Oh,
I see somebody.
yeah, yeah. That's all
No,
said.
no,
If sorry, well,
oh,
if Trick was a captain, it would be Trick and A team, of course. Yeah, you're saying.
you had put out a post talking about how, like, the people kind of complaining, saying like, oh, everybody comes from somewhere, and so to say that somebody, you know what I mean,
Yeah,
and like just talking about how people like addressing like, oh, why aren't there any, like, and I'm not talking about Dacia specific, but the people who are like more upset about, like, wondering, look at all the people in the ring, these are people just fresh from NXT. And you know what? And like how you pointed out, like, everyone comes from somewhere. But like I could imagine, like, if if WWE was working with TNA back in the day when Kurt came to TNA,
yeah,
and like 6 months later they did an invasion storyline, and Kurt was on TNA, like I would be laughing if people would have said like, "Oh,
yeah,
Kurt just got there. You're gonna
yeah.
put Kurt on the fucking team. He's a
So
star." You know what I mean?
I put out so the tweet I put out was like this whole ex WWE talent, um, this whole ex WWE talent crop that, folks want to tell. And I said like, it is, I believe it's a fact, they're doing better right now than they were in WWE. So this is like a homecoming to them, like like a closure or homecoming or whatever you want to call it. I mean, I was listening to Steve Macklin, in his interview, like, it felt like, I mean, he was there last week, but like, it felt like, I guess you could say like a homecoming because like here he is and like, in his best, I guess you could say his best, in his best run or best state of his career right now. Like he's not the Steve Cutler that I'm sure the NXT fans remember him as. He's Steve Macklin now. So yeah, I mean, so again, like, so what if they came from WWE? My point is, so what if they came from WWE? Like, all right, well, I mean, a lot of people came from WWE, whether it's independent talents, that independent talent right now, people from AEW, TNA, New Japan, or whatever. Like, so what? Okay, I mean, that's just the thing. So what? Like, everyone came from somewhere, and like, and WWE at that time was like, the big head honcho to go to and this and that. So, I don't think that should matter. Like, what should matter is like what the talent that you have. You know what I'm saying? Like if you have talent, that's what should matter. Like, so, and looking at this NXT and looking at this TNA team, like there's a lot of talent here, like the Inspiration, Marsha Day, Kalani Jordan, like, yeah. Again, so that's just kind of my point. Like, it really shouldn't matter. Like this whole ex WWE thing. Like that's just pretty much putting a knock on TNA. So yeah, you can say.
You know, oh, you know what's funny? Also, like you say, like it'd be funny like if they started like claiming like the people who like you said like claiming people like Steve Macklin, because like it'd be one thing if they're like saying that like, oh, those are former stars, but like no, like these people are like people who have done way better in TNA, even if it's in the short term. Like I would say Mara Sade already feels like a bigger deal than she did in NXT. So like, you know what I mean? Like to me, she's already TNA. You know what I mean? So yeah, and exactly, you're completely right. Everyone comes from somewhere. Bring up a couple comments real quick. But our buddy Miguel, you know what? I think that if we're going to compare it to the WCW WWE invasion, you know what I mean? I think this is different because, like, yeah, like the WCW wrestlers, you could say that they did kind of get buried, but I think that what TNA is looking to get out of this invasion is more so just exposure. You know what I mean? So to me, if we come out
Yeah.
of this, getting a new TV deal, then I would say that we won the invasion.
Well, I mean, what the 2000, I get what he's saying, but like with the 2001 invasion, nobody really kind of expected what was the end point out of it. I mean, if we're kind of being calling the buck, like that invasion angle just kind of came out of nowhere, like it was an addition part of the Vince and Shane feud. Then like WCW closed and ECW closed, so now you have like these two companies and this talent, and now they're adding it up to like the Vince and Shane feud. So, and of course, obviously the main stars didn't come, and Invasion 2001 is for what it was. So basically, my point is like we didn't really know how it was going to end or the climax, or so to speak. Here with this current, I guess you could say, showdown, invasion, whatever. Like basically, like it's pretty clear. Like this is a I guess you could say is a friendly battle or whatnot between these two brands. And in my opinion, like TNA, I mean, it's a storyline. Yeah, basically TNA's fed up with the disrespect and their belts being taken, and this stigma of folks thinking like WWE's controlling TNA, as Santana mentioned on commentary. So basically, yeah, TNA's the baby faces here, or at least how we feel. But like the baby faces here, and then they're on a how do I put this? They're on a mission. Basically, they're on a mission to like get get their belts back, and also let NXT know like what's up. So yeah, those are the difference.
You know, and now that I think about it, we might as well. We can either wait to the show. We can wait till the end of the show, or we can wait. We can do them now, but we might as well give some predictions tonight because we'll we'll be doing our show after. We'll have some Bound for Glory.
Probably in.
What?
I mean, you want to do the predictions at the end?
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna have some predictions for you guys because obviously we'll be predicting Bound for Glory on next week's show, but Showdown's on Tuesday, and it's next week you could probably say it's the biggest.
I mean, should we really do a prediction? Because you and I we're so biased into this whole thing. Like,
well, because the reason I want to do predictions is because I actually, spoiler on one of mine, I think NXT is winning the men's match, and just because I think it plays into BFG for one storyline. But I get what you're saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Obviously, we want.
It's like we know we're too biased into this. That's just why.
Yeah, I get that.
How about we do this? If there's a match that NXT might win, what would it be? We can do that.
What? Okay, do you want to wait till the end of the show?
Yeah, wait till the end of the show.
Okay. All right. Do you have anything else you want to say about NXT, TNA related before we get into everything else?
I think that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I enjoyed. I mean, for my view, I enjoyed the show. Like I was entertained.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I was from like NXT Tuesday. I was entertained.
Yeah, no, I really, again, I like how it, basically it was a go home for show.
Oh yeah, you noticed, Obafemi. Yeah, you noticed by his absence, Obafemi. I think he's getting called up soon, so I wouldn't expect. Oh, that's right. Jordan Grace. Yeah, our old friend Jordan Grace was not happy about not being selected for either team, so she put out a video tweet earlier.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that.
Yeah. She's not happy, and she tagged Ava and Santino to fix this. Real quick, but yeah, Jordan does have a point. Yeah, without her, there wouldn't be NXT TNA, the partnership, or da da da. She is right on the money on that. But she said on Tuesday, if I remember, she didn't want to be on a team with JC Jane. Well, I can't blame her on that, but like so, and the TNA side. Say again.
Do you think? I know you said Jordan's. Never mind. You said Oba, but do you think Jordan is going to eventually beat JC for the title before she moves up?
It's possible. I mean, depending. She's main roster bound. Obviously,
yeah.
It depends how long she's there for. I hope they're done with the her and Blake Monroe feud. I feel like they've been feuding for quite a while. I hope that one's done. So, yeah. I mean, with the thing with JC, yeah, she's been Yeah, she somehow, yeah, she still manages to keep onto the title despite these big
Mhm.
challenges, like from a Jordan. Uh, even yeah, she faced Masha too. From Lola Vice. Uh, I forget she. I mean, of course, she beat Fakir, but yeah, basically, yeah, yeah. Despite many people counting her out, yeah, she still managed to have the title. To answer your question, can Jordan beat her? It's possible. I mean, it's possible if it's just 1-on-1 without her. I mean, without Fallon and yeah, without Fallon and and whoever whoever wants to side with JC again in the way. Yeah, I think yeah, Jordan could probably do it. But yeah, to
Yeah.
so yeah, since she doesn't want to be in a tag team with JC and the TNA side, they feel like they're going through a lot of other shit. Like they don't need like another NXT talent. Then sorry, Jordan, you are an NXT talent on the side to kind of trust, and I guess they're kind of showing that same way to Hendry. That's why both of them are not really on either team. So yeah, Jordan's
Mhm.
not too happy about that. Yeah.
You know, I just think that Jordan's so far away from like TNA business. I didn't expect her to be in that, like, and especially just since that, like, when this like shit started going down with like TNA losing their, I mean, NXT winning TNA's titles. It wasn't like Jordan was like being mentioned or like a factor in any of that. So like, and especially during like we haven't really seen her get in the mix in the evasion part either. So, but yeah, I get her point, but I don't want to see her involved in it. You know what I mean? Or Joe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like anything where they cost the match, or I want this involved the people. I want the matches just to be involved with the people who are involved in them. But I did like Jordan's promo, especially that she was very heelish in it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I really like. I really never thought of her as a heel, but I thought that was a really good promo by her. Okay, just want to remind everyone before we get into everything from TNA tonight, I just want to remind everyone that this week's podcast is sponsored by Shroom Bar, the protein mushroom bar. It's made up of not psychedelics, but 4 powerful mushroom adaptogens. It has lion's mane, which increases focus, memory, and neuroplasticity, making it easier to form new patterns and learn new things. Next time you're trying to learn that new move, it might actually stick rather than forgetting it immediately. It has cordyceps, which increases VO2 max, blood flow, and overall endurance. It has reishi, which decreases stress. It has turkey tail, which boosts your immune system. And we all know you're going to need that on those nasty-ass gym mats. On top of all that, it has 12 grams of protein. Go to eatshroombar.com and use code BODYSLAM at your checkout for 25% off your first order. Okay. Tonight, TNA Impact. Obviously, we're from the Edmonton. I forget what the name of the building was, but we're still from Edmonton. Obviously, coming
Yeah,
off the
Edmonton Expo Center.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. I thought this was like a very well-paced show. You could kind of tell that they're with like, especially obviously the women, that they're booking like they had to pivot from the unfortunate news from Ash. But I thought this was a very well-paced show. I thought again next week's Bound for Glory weekend. We have an NXT TNA showdown, so it wasn't like they were gonna just come out and have a bunch of matches. This was very angle heavy, but I thought this was still a really good show. What do you think about it, Io?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty decent episode. There was some positives, there were some negatives, but like it was kind of like enjoyable. Like they from the Santana part 2, that which we'll get into, that was very good. The opening match was good, and then of course the main event I thought was pretty good too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would say it's kind of decent, and yeah, you're right. It's basically kind of leading to like the go home show, because like next week is where it's gonna be where they lay all their chips, to give us a reason to tune into Bound for Glory this coming week.
Yeah. Now you got basically 3 shows next week, so
Yeah,
it's very TNA heavy, and like they
exactly.
basically have they're building up to their biggest show, while obviously building up to, you could arguably say, is their other biggest show, in terms of this like whole partnership. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Showdown is very, very huge. Especially that almost works as another go home show because that's going to set the tone for BFG as well. Because NXT will be a part of that. We have Indy versus Kalani. I really like this opening segment. You had Kaz coming out, and he's very much a prick, but I do like. There was a lot to pay attention to in this segment. But we have Kaz coming out. He puts over Trick a little bit. He welcomes Kalani. Kalani speaks for a little bit. Then Trick comes out. So basically, you have the top two TNA champions, and obviously, it is ironic that they're both NXT wrestlers. But then, obviously, just one by one, it was very Joe Henry-ish. You would say somebody's name, they would come out. So you had Matt Hardy, Leon Slater, Indie Wrestling, and then Kaz, Trick, and Kalani. I thought we were talking before the show that maybe people could say that they spoke too much, but I thought everyone got to say their piece, and I thought at the end this was a good segment.
Yeah. Also before that, as Santana was walking into the building,
That's right.
Yeah, Santana confronted him, saying that Trick. I mean, there's now another. There's now another clause for Santana. Until Bound for Glory, he can't touch Trick Williams unless provoked. And if so, like his match would be canceled. So yeah, you kind of see like Trick is still doing what he can to kind of get out of this match with Santana. So yes, there's that. But yeah, the match. The segment. I thought it was kind of very going too long. I guess you could say going too long, so to speak, because Frankie couldn't stop talking. Kalani didn't really get to say much. I mean, and then Matt Hardy came, Leon Slater came, and then Indy Hartwell came. So yeah, I just kind of figured like they were kind of like building towards a multi-person match. I mean, ironically, all of them are in their gears and stuff, but then the match was good. The match was good. Obviously, very talented wrestlers in the ring. Good sequence. The closing parts. Santana was on commentary. Trick got into his face. Then Kazarian, I think, kind of bumped into Trick, which led to Trick bumping into Santana. So that kind of provoked Santana to attack him. Of course, Leon Slater, doing well in the match, hit the Swanton 450 on Kazarian, got the win. So yeah, this was a good challengers and champions match. Or mostly champions and challenger match to kind of like build up towards each person's respectable Battle for Glory match, and another way of Santana getting his hands on Trick.
I like I really like though during that opening segment before the match. Kaz is basically he's going to be a heel, but he's going to stand up for TNA. And while Kalani is NXT,
it's ironic. Oh, continue.
Oh no, I was just gonna say why Kalani is NXT as a face. She's putting up TNA. You know what I mean? She's like not like burying him, kayfabe like Trick is. So she was very much playing like peacemaker during this segment, and I really liked that. And during the match, it played out too because she did not want to hit Leon. You know what I mean? So that's why I don't think people should complain about her because I think this is a different angle. The idea of a face from NXT winning the title. You know what I mean? Because like again, it's not like she beat a face; she won it in a battle royale. You know what I mean? And then she faced Lay. So I don't mind Kalani being champ, and I like this whole dynamic. But the match was fun as well too.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it's ironic because Leon just pinned his partner, his partner for Tuesday too. So that's kind of funny. But you're very spot on. Kalani, she didn't want to like take the easy route, especially when Trick was holding Leon and didn't want to take that free shot. So yeah, there you
if Ali walks out of Tuesday with the NXT title, and Trick and Santana walks out of BFG with the TNA title, I don't have a problem with Kalani walking out of BFG still the women's champion, because one, I think that TNA fans would be happy about getting one of their titles back and then taking one of NXT's. But two, I would just like to kind of see Kalani hold the belt for a little bit, and then I would rather see a heel take it off her from the TNA side, just because we need to build that next top heel, in the women's division.
Yeah.
We a big loss with Ash, and then I know although Masha was a face, she was had been a heel previously in her career in TNA. So, but yeah, going back to the match, did you notice that during commentary, Santana had brought up the talk online that WWE and NXT run TNA and how disrespected the locker room is. When they have to walk by the NXT side, they're disrespected. Yeah. And I just thought that was funny because, obviously not you and me, because we know better. We know not to fall for it, but it's almost like they turn the angle of the people who are worried about WWE buying TNA kind of on their heads. You know what I mean? It's a narrative. Yeah. You know what I mean? I really do like that.
Yeah, Santana. Yeah, he's he knows like what the chatter is and stuff. So he's kind of turn around and kind of put it into the storyline. So yeah, I mean, as it should be. Like I know, like it's a partnership, but like in storyline, we can't really pretend it's like we're like both companies are friends. Like there is gonna be tensions, and I'm glad he mentioned that.
Datia, real quick, addressing Datia's comment. That's exactly who I'm thinking of. I would have Luna take it off her, especially if it could play in if Indy loses, and then you have Danny kind of be the one to do it. You know what I mean? And then set up, because I'd rather the storyline continue with Indy and Danny, and then have Indy eventually beat Danny for it, just because I just think that there's more to gain in that situation. But yeah, real quick before we move on, I thought the match was really good. I continue to laugh during the segment. Santino called Matt Hardboy, and you could see Matt like visibly laughing, and he was like kept repeating it. I was dying. Like the way that Santino like pronounces names is like a funny joke every week. Like the way he said Kalani Jordan's name. Oh, I was dying. Santino makes me laugh every time he's out there.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on. What next we have? Sorry. Okay. We had just a quick, I don't know if this was before the show, but just kind of like Dreamer, rah-rah speech for the TNA side. I don't know when this was, but this was fine. I might have complained about it in our group chat, but again, this was good to get the team ready.
Yeah, this was his rah-rah speech, kind of like get the fans going and to motivate the talent. I thought this a good way to kind of get folks pumped for a showdown coming up.
Okay. Next we had it was short, but I thought this was a very, very good Mara segment, and again, I think she kind of announced the whole theme of this. I think this show, our show, is pushing back on the narrative of people can't come from somewhere, because Mara talks about losing her dream job, and I could see how people are gonna be like, she'd rather be in WWE, but then she says another door open, and you know what I mean, and like she basically, I think we're gonna get another part of this segment, but she's basically all in on TNA. You know what I mean? And that really came through in this promo.
Well, because she knows that she's getting much leeway to kind of be herself. And I mean, not to say that she wasn't a little bit in NXT, but like the spotlight's on her this time around. So Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, they're doing like I guess you could say vignettes. Kind of like getting us like making sure getting us to know about her, like how she felt when she was let go, and like what's next for her and stuff. And obviously, 'cause she's going to be a part of Tuesday too. So yeah, it's good. Yeah, I mean, Mara. Yeah, Mara's been doing good since she came in. Team with the Hardys, team with the Inspiration. As I mentioned, yeah, part of the showdown, and yeah,
I think that's going to go down as one of like TNA's best signings. I know it's early, but I think that WWE definitely blew it on that one just because I think she definitely stands out and has a presence.
yeah,
So she's only going to get better, especially being in TNA because we've seen that happen a million times. Okay, next we just had a quick, just a, I wouldn't call it a squash match. I'd call it an enhancement match. Uh, Dante would say the same. It was the Angel Warriors, obviously Zaya Brookside and Laying Lee. Fucking such a great pairing. Oh
yeah,
god, the gear it just makes so much sense versus Kat Von Hees and Ava Lawless. I'm assuming that they're local talent. Um, Even just going back to the promo that that Zaya and Lay cut, it was just so good the way that they played off of each other. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Um, and like I'm not one of the people who like thinks that everyone needs to speak English in wrestling. I like when wrestlers can cut promos in their in their home language. You know what I mean? And so
yeah.
I thought this was very very good. Lay is so charismatic, and Zaya as well. Um, but yeah, this was a fun match. Like I said, and I think the local talent, obviously, Kat and Ava looked pretty good in certain spots. So this was good.
Yeah, this was a good way to show us how good the chemistry these two have. I mean, and they're good, very good friends too. So yeah, you can really tell. I mean, I know it was gonna. I know they were good matchmaking for a new tag team. Yeah, Lei Ling, the serious warrior, competitive spirit, and of course Ash. I'm sorry, not Ash. Sorry, Brookside. With the spiritual heart. The spiritual heart. Underdog. Angel in the sky. So yeah, these two are very good pairing, and they had a good showcase and enhancement match, I guess you could say, or it's clear that they're building these two up, for possible tag title contention again, down the line, possibly then maybe against the new champs, I mean, the tag champions. But yeah, I'm very excited. Yeah, I really like this tag team.
You know, I don't have a problem with. And to your what you said, I agree with everything you said. But also, I'm not saying I want every team to break up. I like that teams can have a long run, but I think these two definitely should be in plans for singles titles down the line as well. Just because too, I think that they're good on their own. They're great. They're great together. They're great on their own. So, but yeah, this was a fun match. Angel Warriors get the win with kind of like an innovative take on the Brooksy bomb. I really do. I really do like the team finisher. Yeah, that was good. This was good. Okay, next we get a quick Joe Henry promo, and before he can really even say much, Santino kind of interrupts him and just kind of tells him that according to corporate, they would call that TNA management back in the early days of TNA. TNA management has said that Eric Young is getting a rematch, and I believe it's going to be a hardcore match next week. While I don't think Joe will lose, just because I think he's going to win up until he leaves. This is interesting. You know what I mean? I'm wondering if we're going to get the the cleanse. I wonder if we're going to get a new member of it, or we see a new development or some development in this. What do you think about this?
Yeah, it'll be interesting how this one kind of turns out. Um, but my prediction, I'm sure we'll see another dude in the crowd with the cleanses coming sign. Um, This might be where probably I think EY maybe. I know you mentioned Joe. I think EY might get this one. Uh, just depending, like I mean, just depending, like how we kind of end this, like end this fuse. I mean, this feud, so to speak. But yeah, I'll stick with EY for now.
Yeah, look, I don't think that like I get not having Joe lose, but at the same time, I would like to see, especially it would be fine if like two new members, a couple of no members, basically help EY destroy Joe. You know what I mean? Because then I don't think that hurts Joe. He was overwhelmed. But yeah, I definitely want to see some sort of development with the cleanse, especially now that Sinner and Saint don't seem to be involved. So I'm curious. Uh, Me personally, I think that I'm just fantasy booking. I think it'd be the Righteous if that's who came in. I don't see it being current members of TNA.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm very interested to see where they go with this. Okay. Next, we're just going to get a Santana video, and the way I said that did not was almost disrespectful because this was like a movie.
Yeah.
This was pure
This
cinema.
this was very
You know that
good.
meme, the Scorsese meme. This was cinema, and I popped when Amazing Red came out, even though that's before my time watching TNA. I know who Amazing Red is. I'm not living under a rock. I know, his contributions are all over wrestling.
Exactly.
But this was so good, dude. Like the way that he's walking behind him, but you're focused on Santana, who is basically taking in every fucking word he's saying, and you could tell that it's not going in one ear out the other. You know what I mean? He is focused, and I thought this was very well done. And they made Santana just come off like a complete star. I love the, talking about the history of like homicide, like they kind of alluded to the smaller guys and him paving the way, like paving the way for him as well. Like this was 5 stars.
Yeah, this was very well done, very well put out. Credit to the production people. You could tell, yeah, Santana, as you mentioned, he was laser focused. Like he didn't even utter a word. Didn't try to like reply, to what Amazing Red was saying. Like Amazing Red kind of like, you know, basically just kind of like he basically kind of like gave him like the heart to heart, like a best friend. Honesty, like an honesty. Basically, like he kind of like gave him like the whole honesty. Like no one's really gonna tell him like what happened at Slammiversary. How do I put this? What happened at Slammiversary was a slap in the face. Basically, yeah. Like like he basically saying like himself and Homicide, who was there too. Like they wasted their time being there, kind of like going all hard, like on Santana, like let him know like this is why this time like you got to get it done. Like it's in Boston, different area, like. Basically, it's his way of trying to motivate him. Like you let this guy, this outsider, come in, still walk away with the title in your own hometown. Basically, dog shitting. I guess you could say like dog shitting, like in your town, your place of work, your home, in your daughter's room, and da da da. Basically, yeah, basically, kind of like motivating Santana, saying like this time around, like night like in Bound for Glory or this word things get different. Like your life won't be the same until you get that belt, and when you get the belt, that's when everything comes back in place. So yeah, it's kind of like you said in the movies, like one of those Rocky, like those Rocky film motivation speaks and whatnot. So yeah, this was very well good. Like
Yeah,
You could tell Santana was listening, like like trying to like boil it all up and stuff. So yeah, this was very 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 good.
Yeah, like he was laser focused. Like it wasn't lost on him, but like he was paying attention to him, but also thinking about what he had to do, like what he knows he has to do. Like again, yeah, 5 stars. I hope that they show this again. But yeah, this was very good. Um, completely
Yeah,
well
I
done.
don't know if they do another one. I don't know how they're gonna top it.
Yes, I don't either. Okay, next we had Nick Nemeth taking on HTM in full Edmonton Oilers jersey, Connor McDavid. So obviously knew that was going to get a big pop. They love hockey up there. They love their Oilers.
Yeah,
This this was so funny to me, and I like how Datia commented this, talking about paying attention to Matt and Tom's banter. At one point during the show, they were talking about like HTM. He's like, "Oh, you mean Diener?" And he asked him like, why do you think Cardona hangs out with him? He's like, do you think he's because he's a grifter as well? And I'm like, Jesus, dude, like they call Cardona a grifter. I was like, that's funny. You know what I mean? It's very funny to me too that when like the joke now that we know what Diener looks like, but he's still protective of the mask. Like, that's funny. This was fun. This was fine. You know, you got to keep the Nemesis heat going. You got to keep them winning. I was fine with it.
yeah. This was yeah, to keep the heat on the Nemitz. Yeah. I think they call themselves the hometown bros. Man, hometown man. But yeah. Street.
The
Yeah.
hometown bros.
I mean, yeah, the hometown bros. Yeah. Uh, yeah. I mean, it's first for what it was. Yeah. Yeah, the hometown man. Was having a good win streak. Going now, he was going up against a multi-time world champion Nick Nimitz. For the most part, he held his own until Ryan Nemeth got involved. Mocking him with his mask that they took a while back. That they took last week. Then he got the mask back, but got him distracted. Where Nemeth picked the win. Yeah, beat down. Then Matt Cardona came down. And then he got beat down for his efforts. So yeah, it seems like this feud is kind of far from over between these four guys. So guess we're just gonna have to see. They might be involved in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. Who knows? Maybe, but yeah.
Yeah, that will be interesting. You know, yeah, obviously time will tell. We will see who else is involved in it. But yeah, like I said, this was fine.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. Next, we had a Gia. We obviously know we're getting Gia versus Tessa, but we had a Gia promo, and it was very, very good. Like, dude, Gia had so much fire in this promo. Like, I haven't heard her cut many promos. I know she does wrestle and wrestle sparingly on the indies, and I think she's more of a manager on the indies as well. But I don't know. I don't know what to expect for her in the ring yet. I haven't seen any of her matches. But as far as like promo skills, charisma, and like on-screen presence, Gia definitely does have something. So, yeah, like I said, this was a really good promo.
Yeah. We got shown tonight. We got shown a different side of Gia Miller. Like, basically, it feels like she's been kind of like since Slammiversary, she's been kind of waiting for this moment to happen. To work because like she already said like she uplifted the suspension for Tessa because she was waiting for a reason. She was waiting for a reason to do this, and Tessa, gave her a reason. For those who know, last week, yeah, her and Crawford attacked Gia and Jody, um, which kind of led to this. So yeah, Gia feels like she was waiting for a reason to be provoked and like to make this challenge. So she challenged Tessa to a Bound for Glory match. Um, I'm very excited, because you mentioned like she's done some stuff on the Indies and this and that. So we're kind of curious, like what kind of situation she got her. So she's getting her. What kind of situation she's getting herself into, especially going up against a caliber talent and former champion Tessa Blanchard. So, of course, I mean the crowd's going to be behind Gia, whatnot. So, but
Yeah.
I like it. To be honest, I like how like they've kind of like layered down this storyline. Like the moment when Tessa came back, like she Gia confronted her, and then she got pie faced for her troubles, and then got pie faced again, and then leading up to Slammiversary. So now call comes down to this at Bound for Glory between the two. So yeah, should be very interesting. But yeah, this was a very good segment with Gia. Like Gia she don't really get enough praise and props for like what she does as a character. Like
Hmm.
from like an interviewer and commentator, but like as a character, she's really good. Like she's someone you want to root behind.
Definitely, and that's why I think that there's a lot to be. I think there's a lot to work with in terms of like I think Gia has a presence and a star power that so like I'm waiting to see her in the ring, but if she is good and can get shows that she can get better, I think that there's real possibility with her.
Yeah.
Okay, next we have, and I'm glad how we kind of revisited this because I think since the Order 4 and system have been kind of beefing, we haven't gone back to Tasha versus Alicia just because at one point I don't know, did they win the Knockouts titles together?
Um, Alicia did with Masha, but
Okay.
when they dropped it, Alicia was injured. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because she had that incident. When she was unconscious. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Tasha took her place. That's when they lost the titles.
Okay, that's right. This was fun, and I like how they point out this is Alicia's first singles match in almost a year. That's crazy. Time flies.
Yeah.
This was a good match. I'm glad how we're kind of getting, you know what I mean. I want to see more of Tasha. You know what I mean. I'm glad to see that they're finally kind of doing more with her because that's kind of the main thing I wanted to see when she went into Order 4. Like I need to see Tasha back to peak Tasha. Real quick, TNA has a funny thing of it's both four factions. Fortune had more than four members. Their song would say Fortune 4, and now we've got Order 4, and I believe there's 5 members now. It's just a little nitpick, but this was a fun match. Again, I think Alicia's very underrated in terms of I don't think people really expected much of her, but I think she's proved a lot of people wrong since she's kind of went into more wrestling instead of just being like a valet for Eddie. But this was a fun match.
Yeah, let me say they've done a real good job building this feud between the two factions. When you really look at it, this has kind of been building for like months. Like both factions, think so highly of themselves, as the dominant faction in TNA, and then of course, it led on to like multiple brawls, interferences, um matches, singles matches, tag matches, and now here we are with the women are getting involved one on one. So yeah, I think this they've done a good job really building this, leading to Bound for Glory's Hardcore War. Um, yeah, it was a decent match. Yeah, I'm actually surprised Alicia got the win here. I mean, given that Tasha's a former world champion and but yeah, this was a good way to kind of like even things. I guess you could say balance, like kind of balance the matches because like what they're doing good is like the series of matches leading up to Hardcore War. I know next week is JDC against Mustafa, so basically just kind of like can see which factions getting the momentum heading into Bound for Glory. But yeah, this was a decent, okay match, between Alicia and Tasha.
I believe is her kendo stick named Kendra.
That's right.
Yeah, she got out. Well, Tasha tried to use Kendra. You could kind of see there was some shenanigans going outside, and so you knew someone was trying to do something. Tasha went for the kendo stick. Alicia was able to dodge, get it, use it, and then she was able to get the win. I do like this because I expect Order 4 to come out of that match the winners. So just for the system to get some little victories here and there, I'm fine that. Okay, next we're gonna move into a Tessa segment. And busy week for Tessa. She had kind of announced it was all over yesterday, I believe. I saw it from Lucha Blog. I could try to pull up the name. Yeah, so many tweets. But Tessa has just she's kind of doing CML again, MML again. I believe she has a dual contract.
Yeah.
She'll appear for some CML events coming up. So you know what I mean. So again, how I feel about her personally, it seems that things are cooling down a little bit in terms of her working other places. So I'm not going to hate. This segment was very good. Her promo was very good. I liked her talking the history of Gia trying to go to the same school she did, and then eventually going to Mike Jackson school. This whole thing was good. And let me just say, I'm not ready to say pull the trigger on Tessa being world champion, but I definitely do think and would be totally fine if her and Victoria end up becoming knockouts tag champs. Just because I think that benefits both of them. I think it benefits Victoria in terms of just kind of being, with a comparable worker as Tessa, she could learn a lot. But yeah, no, this promo was very good. Io, what'd you think about this?
Very good. I mean, this Tessa, she knows how to cut a good promo. Um, what's good was interesting that she brought up that there actually is a history between her and Gia that I didn't know of. Apparently, I'm trying to recap what she said. So apparently, like, Gia tried to like work, train at the same place where Tessa was training at, or at least was at one point, and then apparently it didn't work out for Gia, and then she went on to move to go train with Mike Jackson.
Yeah.
For us fellas, we remember Mike Jackson, of course. Yeah, the
Yep.
old man springboard. I mean, old man doing the old school walk on the ropes and and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, that Mike Jackson. So yeah, yeah. Long story short, yeah. This was Tessa kind of like shunning, running down Gia. Name calling, and basically, calling her pathetic and like saying like I'm afraid for what I'm gonna do to you and and stuff. So like, yeah, this was the perfect stuff for like a heel to kind of like shun down, this less experienced person. Like it's how it's supposed to be. The experience, vet and Tessa, you know, rightfully overlooking, saying this person's not even nowhere near my level and and stuff. So it's only gonna feel more crowd sympathy, yeah, feel more sympathy and stuff, lean to Gia. So yeah, this was very good.
Completely agree with you. Yeah, I thought that Tessa came off, like she very good heel as shit. You know what I mean? I think it's less about kind of like bringing like the bully thing into her promos. I think this is just typical heel shit. Especially mentioning
Yeah.
like kind of dogging on Mike Jackson's academy. Like he's like a career jobber, just things like that. Like that, it was very heel. So, see what Mike Matthew says. Oh yeah,
I mean, yeah. Yes, Gia's not
yeah.
a Tessa level, yeah.
That's yeah. And again, no one would
Which shows
dispute that.
you go first, mother.
No. I was just saying no one would dispute that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, yeah, because like, yeah, Tessa. I mean, like, this is how good of a pro she is. Like, she's gonna do most of the work and like sell for her and and all that stuff. Like they're gonna do. Put it this way, both women, they're gonna do the best they can for this payoff for this
Mhm.
feud. So yeah. I mean, who knows? GM Miller might surprise you, Matthew. You might be surprised. GM might surprise all of us. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, I definitely do think that it's going to be a showcase for her, even if that she doesn't win. I think you know what I mean? There are obviously going to be
Yeah.
spots where the crowd is, absolutely losing it for Gia, and there's going to be a spot where she almost is going to
Oh yeah.
win. So,
Real
yeah.
quick on the CMLL thing. Yeah. So yeah. Apparently CML likes Tessa. Yeah. The fans, they like Tessa. I mean, it's Mexico and stuff. So apparently CML. I mean, they wanted to keep using it, but apparently they were afraid of her going to WWE at some point, and
Mm-hmm.
seems like that's not really in the cards at the moment. So yeah, CML figure, yeah, bring her back. So yeah, she has a dual contract. So she's still doing TNA and CML. Our buddy Mike Gilbert, and I know you saw it too. Our buddy Mike Gilbert kind of tweeted that, yeah, it's going to be CML wrestler Tessa versus TNA talent interview or whatever with Gia Miller, and I kind of cracked up to that too. So yeah, he said true forbidden. He said true forbidden door. So that's,
I saw that.
yeah.
And to kind of defend Tessa real quick, and I'm only just kind of defending the hypocrisy, but I saw someone kind of say like, "Oh, like there's no fear of WWE booking her now." The idea that WWE would book Brock but not Tessa, I'm not going to get into the hypocrisy of that, but it just kind of shows you the way people look at things. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, like good for Tessa. You know what I mean? That's CMLL is a big deal. So yeah. Okay, let's get into our main event, which was I thought a very fun match. I'm not going to sit here. As you guys know, the inspiration we're able to get it done. We have 2-time knockouts champs. This was a very fun match. Heather and M's gear was phenomenal. Like I don't, it was almost like a NASCAR pit crew. You know what I mean? Like a racing pit crew.
Tape McRae.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring her up real quick. Yeah, you continue.
No, yeah, I thought again. I love it when tag teams, women or men, like I like when they coordinate their gear. You know what I mean? It makes them seem more of a team. You know what I mean? You see that obviously team sports. Everyone the teams wear the same jersey. You know what I mean? Obviously with their name and different number, but yeah, like I thought this match was fun. You know what I mean? I think Heather and M are phenomenal, and that's why I was a little disappointed for the result, just because I get the decision to kind of, with the unfortunate news of Ash, this is the opportunity to kind of take the belts off of them. I get that. But to me, I would have went the other way. I would have made this a rallying call in terms of I would have made the Elegance brand even stronger. Like I would have had them had a dominant win, because the narrative should have been to me that yes, their leader is gone, but that shouldn't take away from the work that these two ladies have done. Like Heather and Em are very good. So I'm a little not upset, but just kind of perplexed at the decision in the thinking. I would have went the other way. But what did you think about just all of this? The match, the finish.
Yeah, I agree. This was hold on, let me first off let me show you the the inspired gear that Heather and Em were wearing. Yeah, Tate McRae.
Okay.
She's
That's very.
yeah, she's a popular singer. This is the
Mhm.
sports car gear. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool to blend with the Victory Road theme. Yeah, so it's been a rough few days for the Elegance brand. You just mentioned the Ash news. So yeah, you kind of figure like they put put Heather and them in a rough position. Like good part is their main event. They're in the main event.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're in the main event. Good spots, but also like now they don't have their leader, as you mentioned. The personal
Mhm.
concierge is still there. Uh, and I know Hannafan mentioned can they hold on? Can they hold the fort by themselves and da 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 and speak. But I mean, for their efforts, they did had a good match, with the inspiration. I mentioned this too. I think this was Jesse and Cassie's first TV main event, and I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's the first TV main event, so that's pretty cool too. But yeah, this was a good this was a good decent match. You can obviously you mentioned too the chemistry between Heather and Ember is very good. These two girls like they know each other's move in the back of their mind. Like even when the refs not watching, one takes advantage, one assists, and this da da da. So I enjoy the chemistry. I think this was the better pairing out of the three involving Ash. Because like once Maggie got into the phrase, like okay, like this is the great this is the great trio here. And further credit, they had a good run. They had a good run. Like
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
hey
Dante.
Dustin. Hey
Sorry,
Dustin.
I didn't mean to
Oh no, no
interrupt you,
worries.
Al,
No,
but I
no,
saw that Dante was
No
there.
worries. I'm gonna finish it. So yeah, they had a good run. The three of them. You can't take that away. The longest reigning female tag champs. That scene, I mean, they walk into NXT, had a good showing with Fatal Influence. Um, and for their credit, they had a good run. Well, I mean, we'll see what's next. I hope they keep them together. The personal concierge has heat, like
Yes,
he
yes, he
like
does.
heat. Like you heard of the Iceman sucks chance. Yeah, and we're just crying because he's from Canada too, so it's kind of crazy. So yeah, they got to keep the three of them together. Um, the inspiration, yeah, congrats to them. Yeah, credit to TNA. I'm gonna wrap up soon. The credit to TNA, they did a good job of letting them earn it. Like this reign feels different
Hmm.
because when they first came in, and I'm sure you remember too, Dotson, like when the inspiration first came in, they won the titles on their first night. Like they just, I mean, they made them chance on their first night, on their first time there. So this one, it feels like it's been earned. Like not to this their first reign, but this second reign feels like it's been earned. Like I mean, they've tried multiple times and lost um in previous title matches, but this one, feels like they worked their way, and they've to be honest, like they've been doing good. I've enjoyed the chemistry. I mean, I've enjoyed the matches so far with Jesse and Cassie, especially Cassie. I think she's really good too. So yeah,
But, but
congrats.
before Datia goes, I just want to say that when the inspiration won the first time, it was almost like Scott was running an indie, and like when like a WWE talent first leaves, and then there's doing all the indie runs collecting belts. That's what that felt like. It's like, okay, let's just hand like the some big stars that we just recently signed. Let's hand them some titles. And like, yeah, this one definitely they had to get something else before they got that win tonight. But yeah, I want to just real quick set this up cause I want to get Dante's opinion. Dante, what would you do with the Elegance brand going forward? I don't know if you saw earlier in the tweet. I personally think that either you make Heather the leader, or I know it's a long shot, but we've heard Io mention before. He keeps talking, and I did not know this, but we know Kalani is Ash's kind of like protege. I would throw Kalani in there. I know she's an NXT wrestler, but I think you can't break this group up, especially like I was talking. Iceman's got heat. I mean, this group's too.
Yeah.
Like I would not break them up. You can't do it.
So first off, I just want to say congrats to the Inspiration. They're my favorite women's tag team, so congrats to them. I was actually at Bound for Glory when I saw them make their Impact debut, and I saw them win the Knockouts tag team titles. So that's on my YouTube channel if anyone wants to check it out. I got to see Harley Cameron perform their theme song live, so really cool moment. Um, I'm happy that they won. Like you said, Io, this time feels different. They actually earned it. And I have to say, I wouldn't split up the Elegance brand. There's still a shortage of women's tag teams here, and splitting the Elegance brand up would only weaken that division. I still feel like they're having a hard time replacing all the teams that they lost. And where the hell are Harley Hudson and Myla Grace? Where are
I had
they?
mentioned that too, and that's what I'm saying. If it wasn't for NXT, I think that the division would still be very thin because, yeah, like, I know that they are technically, I wouldn't say two-way contracts, but I know that they're working a lot of British indies and indies. So it's not like they're going to make every taping. But yeah, like let's learn from WWE when they break up a team and let's just say, like, I know Kaiser went on to do something, but Vinci didn't do anything. You know what I mean? And like, let's not break up teams just so we can have two single stars who do nothing, wrestlers who do nothing. Like Em and I think Heather are just finding their stride right now. Like, they're cooking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they do. And I agree. Like, they really shouldn't split them up. I think that the Elegance brand, I've been a fan of Ash by Elegance since
I mean,
they
I wouldn't
debuted.
think they're gonna. Sorry, I don't think they might split them up. They might go back to the original names, and so to speak.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
or who knows? They might find a new way of reinnovating the Elegance brand. Because, like, I feel like, in my opinion, like getting rid of the faction and stuff would be a disservice to Ash and all her work.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I was there when Ash debuted it. I was at Hard to Kill in Vegas. And I feel like the Elegance brand worked really hard. They had a really great reign as Knockouts Tag Team Champions. And like you said, it would be a disservice to Ash and all her hard work if they split them up. And I hope that they stay a tag team, even if they're not known as the Elegance brand necessarily. But I hope that going forward they do stay together, because not only would it be a disservice to Ash, like you said, but we need the tag teams.
yeah.
Yeah, they should pull a page from, the newly to be TNA Hall of Famers, the Beautiful People, who had a few different iterations. So, yeah, like, if they can just, either continue with maybe a new lineup, just the two of them with Iceman, who is essential to this group. He cannot leave. You know what I mean?
He's the
Like,
Q
I
kip.
don't.
He's the Q kip to their Beautiful
Yes,
People.
yes,
Yeah.
he is.
Yeah, they gotta find a way to keep that guy on TV too. Yeah.
So, we weren't going to talk about, but now they need their Lacey Von Erich. They need their new. They need some, and I believe I think it was. I'm trying to remember. Someone in one of our group chats had mentioned that. Well, it wasn't Jada Stone, but the other woman that they signed was kind of. They were kind of. Yeah, Smiler Moore. They were kind of alluding to that she was hanging out with the Elegance brand a few months ago, and they didn't really do anything like that. I think that was either an explosion thing or maybe just like a house style match. But I think that would be a cool way to incorporate someone new. So basically, they do what they did with M. You know what I mean? They bring someone new into the fold. I would be totally fine with that.
So I know we're wrapping up Impact review. We're gonna get into Showdown. So, Datsala, what was your thoughts? I know you're not as well, Sigurd. You're not a very frequent NXT watcher, but what's your thoughts so far? What's your thoughts so far on this whole NXT TNA Showdown, or whatchamacallit?
I'm Triple H. I don't work on Tuesdays.
I mean, based on what you've seen already, like, how are you feeling on this?
I feel like this had the potential to be like a 2-3 hour pay-per-view, and it's going to be probably like a 2 hour TV special. I guess I wanted a little bit more. Like, NXT took all our titles. We should have taken some of their titles. So I'm looking forward to it. It's actually going to get me to work on Tuesday, so I guess I'll be JBL for the day. But so let's see what happens. And I think Britt is right. I think it's going to play into Bound for Glory.
Exactly, and that's what because I always said that we're going to do kind of predictions with a caveat, especially basically because we are TNA biased, and you could say that we would just pick all TNA winners.
It might be too biased for us to do these predictions. Mm-hmm. But I came up with an idea that if there's one match NXT might win Showdown, what would it be?
The men's. And it's going to be the men's.
Yeah, no, and I had the perfect scenario. I had said this last week. I think you have the ending is Javon pinning Leon, and Leon gets his win back at BFG, just because we knew Leon wasn't going to win, but to kind of have him, that's just kind of what you would do. You always kind of have the challenger win in a multi-man match, or they've done that before. It's reverse booking. So to have Javon win. Again, I think that's fine. You know what I mean? Because again, we're heading towards TNA getting their belts back, so it's not like NXT is going to lose every match because they're going to lose the big ones.
That's a really good idea. I was gonna say have Joe Harry turn heel just like Eddie Edwards did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I hear people saying that, but like, I don't like that idea just because it's like. So then people run with the narrative. It's like, oh, it's a big fuck you to TNA. Joe's gone.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Really, I think that takes away from them. Unless you're gonna do something like, I would be totally fine if he did come out. If you have a situation where it's playing the thing where someone yells Joe Henry's name and he helps the TNA side, I guess that's fine. You know what I mean? Because he does have powers in that building.
Yeah.
It seems.
Like this is way different than when Ring of Honor invaded TNA. Like when they did that whole storyline with them not trusting Steve Macklin and stuff like that. So it's good to see that this time around TNA is united as one.
Yes, I agree. I don't want to see somebody screw TNA. You know what I mean? Like if they're going to lose, they're going to lose.
I got a good feeling we're going to bounce back. Like this show coming up on Tuesday is where TNA. Make their mark and like, hey, we're not going to be pushed around and like taken advantage of, and our belts, like Bound for Glory, will get all our belts back. But Tuesday, we're going to collect some belts on our own. I'm very confident in the Hardys Dark State winner take all. Because when you think about it, because they got to face Team 3. Yeah, they continue.
No, I just don't really care for Dark Street. Like, no disrespect to the Hardys, I just don't care for Dark Street at all. So,
yeah,
I just don't care for them.
Yeah.
If the Hardys and Ali win, I could totally see a situation where both NXT teams win, and I wouldn't have a problem with that because you could argue that even though Kalani's a face, they could do the thing where the women's team doesn't get along. You know what I mean? Kalani is an NXT wrestler. You know what I mean? So
I can see. The women. There's a good chance the women's match might go to TNA's because when you look at it, like Mara and the Inspiration, like they teamed together before. In the NXT size, it seems like JC doesn't really have any allies there. Like it's her, Soul, Lola, and Jada, and those three especially Jada and Lola made intentions know that they're still coming after JC's belt. So yeah, JC, she's kind of really on her own with three people she doesn't really trust, and then vice versa. So yeah, I think there's a good chance the women's side might get this one. And of course, you got the men's. Yeah, you guys mentioned NXT might win this one, but who knows? The factor, Trick. I mean, who knows? Like, is Trick Williams really with a team? Because I know, like he, of course, like TNA don't trust him, but can Ricky Saints and can they trust him? I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I think there's a lot. I do like there is a lot of that going into these matches, which that's always kind of been a thing. Who can trust who? Even though it's like kind of cliche, kind of played out. I think it really adds to these matches. You know what I mean? Because I also could see a situation where Jordan does get involved in the women's match. Maybe something happens and it costs the TNA women their match. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that now that I'm thinking about it, Joe Henry and her playing a role in the respective matches could make sense if done right. You know what I mean? So, I'm looking forward to this show on Tuesday. We get 3 episodes basically of TNA next week. You know what I mean? That's a lot.
You guys are working overtime next week.
Well, we'll be here on Thursday and Sunday. You know what I mean? But again, like you
we'll
said,
talk
just
about Showdown and
on,
we'll
we'll
talk
wait for the
about
review of pay-per-view
Showdown,
on Thursday.
the Impact review, and then the Bound for Glory review. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. But this should be a very good show. Like I think obviously Ali versus Ethan will be the clear match of the night. That's going to be very, very good. You know what I mean? It's another chance for Ali to show him they blew it. You know what I mean? Because he's killing it right now in TNA. But all right, you guys. With that being said, I want to thank our special guest Datia for joining us. She made a special appearance. She had to talk about the inspiration because, like you said, you do love them. Congratulations to them. Yeah, this one felt more important. This felt more important tonight. And now there's a division. So
yeah.
Did you know this is the Inspiration's first TV main event?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like I thought it was pretty interesting. Like they never really been in that position. It's like, they come this far.
And even though they were faces tonight, apparently they were kept throwing things at Ray Walt. He was complaining about it throughout the night. You know what I mean? I thought that was very
Ray Walt's losing his shit. It's like once the 1, 2, 3 happened. Yeah.
I'm telling you, you have to pay attention to Tom and Matt. They have such great banter.
They do. They're easily, I think, my favorite commentary team in wrestling. So they're very good together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you guys. I want to thank both of you guys for joining. I want to remind everyone to make sure you guys like and subscribe to this video whenever we go live or whenever the great people at Body Slam go live. And with that being said, have a great night, everyone.
All right.
Bye.